Let's take a look visually at the way our item detail page is currently managing the interaction with our application's data model. Of course, we have our item detail page itself, and its primary responsibility is presenting the information to the user. Now, of course, to present that information, it has to have access to the information. So when we needed a note, we created an instance of that note and referenced the note directly from within our page. And that seemed to work out well enough because we could set the binding context of our page to reference the note, and then to display the note's heading and text. The appropriate views could simply inherit that binding context and get access to the information that they need. But then when we got to our picker, things got a little bit more complicated. Because our picker needs a list of courses. And to get the list of courses, we need to access a data store. So then our page handles the details of going out to the data store, retrieving that course list, and then storing the course list with a page again directly referencing the information in the course list. Now we need to bind the course list to our picker. So to do that, we set the binding context on the picker, and we set it to reference the page that the picker is contained within. And by setting it to reference the page, the picker could then access any public properties within the page. So the picker used that binding context to follow the page's reference to the course list, which then allowed it to populate the list of courses within the picker. But in addition to the course list, the picker also needs to use data binding to access the course that's part of the current note. So to do that, it uses the page's reference to the note, and once it gets to the note, it can access the course within that note. Now this code certainly works, but things are kind of convoluted, because even though all of our views need information from the same note, we're getting to that information in two different ways. In the case of our note's heading and our note's text, we're relying on the binding context of our page, which the heading and text views simply inherited. But when it comes to our picker, we're using the picker's binding context to the page instance, which then allows it to access the page's reference to the note, and through that reference, it then gets the note's course. And this can present a number of issues. First of all, things have gotten complicated very fast, even though this is a fairly simple page that we're working with. In addition, our presentation layer, the page, is very closely bound to the details of our data model. So changes in one could have unintended impacts on the other. So we need a better approach than this. We need a way to create some separation between our presentation layer and our data model. And in our next clip, we'll see how we can do that.